Menachem, you have a very laudatory approach to seek to create peace and harmony among diverse religions, and I certainly admire the social importance of that. But from an ontological point of view, from the point of view of what's real in the world, that would seem to be a cop-out or a contradiction, because among the religions there are such dramatic contradictions of fundamental doctrine that it's difficult not to be sympathetic to throw them all out.
There is no view from nowhere. So, and we're never in a position to claim what's really true, okay? Each religion has different ideas of the good and the true.
But each religion claims that they know what is really true.
Oh, they know.
And so you're making a meta-claim that what they're saying in their claim to be true, all of them are wrong in that because none of them can do it.
Well, that's a delusion which we find in science, and we find, because that is the nature of framework dependency. From within our framework, this is the God-given truth. But intelligent people know that beyond the fence are people who think very, very differently, were raised very, very differently. They are as sincere and as committed in their truth claims as you are. And you would admit, if you're really intellectually honest, that had you been born into their families and been raised in their schools and been indoctrinated like they and culturated like they were and socialized into their society, you would think very much like them. Now, this relativism isn't anarchic. It's just a human humility regarding the really true. That's an empty phrase. We have no place to stand by which to claim that our framework-dependent picture matches objective reality, because we have no take, we have no view of objective reality.
I can go along with you perfectly on that, and my conclusion would be that I should discard all religion.
Why? Because what I've just said is true about everything. It's true about the diversity of ethical systems. It's true about the diversity of scientific frameworks.
I would disagree. It's not at all the same in science as it would be in religion. It may be true in ethical and cultural norms about what's appropriate to do in cultural societies. I agree there, which have similarities to religion, but not science. Science may have its own different views at different times, and things change, but there's progress. And there's a universal agreement of what mathematics is and what a mathematical proof is and what proof in particle physics or molecular biology is. I mean, those are standards. You don't have that in religion. And frankly, very few people do what you prescribe, which is wonderful to appreciate that if I would have been born in India or in Japan or in China, I would have a different worldview in terms of my religious culture.
But I would deny what you say about science, which isn't a devaluing of science or a relativizing of science, but claiming that science is a human production like all other human productions, and therefore the claims for certainty and for reality and so on and so forth, and even for progress, are framework dependent. They're the way in which we understand the world of science in which we work. Okay?
Okay, I'm going to give you that, but I want to go back to focusing on religion, because the religious claim is not like the scientific claim. The scientific claim is about progress and what's the structure of a protein or something, whereas the religious claim is that here is the key to eternal life and to the purpose of the universe and to why there's humanity. And I mean, it's the broadest possible claims, and they contradict each other.
They contradict each other, and again, our certainty in the religious truths of the religions we are committed to is not in the least undetermined or subverted by knowing that had I been born and raised in different circumstances, my views would be different.
It's not. It's not subverted.
It's not subverted.
Why?
I know that for a fact.
If you know that for a fact, it would seem like it should surely subvert it.
No. It would only subvert me. It would only subvert my religiosity if I thought, okay, if I made that extra assumption that the truths that I am committed to, okay, that are rooted in my soul, have something to do with reality as it is. Reality as it is, I believe, is unknowable. And therefore, the framework determines. Let me give you a different example, which is easier to swallow. People would put their life on the line, not only for religion, for their country.
Yes, right.
Okay, for their country. And they know perfectly well, okay, that they are American patriots going to war for America, But had they been born in Italy, or had they been born in France, or worse, had they been born in Afghanistan, they would be, they'd be committed to a whole different set of allegiances and political truths and reality about political truth, to the extent that they'd be willing to sacrifice their lives for very, very different things.
That's very interesting. I agree with that.
Now, this doesn't undermine, it diversifies politics, but doesn't relativize it, because there is no view from nowhere in which we can take all these. No, we're always viewing from our own framework. Where religion becomes tricky is that the religions believe, and I'm not contesting that belief, that they are based on revelation and God-given truth. But the way in which they depict God, the way in which they understand how their scriptures should be understood and interpreted, literally or non-literally, and look at the diversity of opinion within the religion.
Sure.
Okay. So from there to making the extra step that different religions are committed differently without undermining the seriousness of my commitment is not difficult. It's not difficult. Then what is the worth? What is the worth of this diversity? It's not to say they've got it wrong. No, they can challenge us. They can challenge us in their otherness and diversity. That's the value of the other. The value of the other is not in agreement with you, but to the extent in which he disagrees with you, allowing you to develop a critical grip on your own framework, which you could not do from within. And the value of otherness is enormous. I can give an example. There was an interview in one of the Israeli newspapers about a decade ago with what we call a court pleader in the rabbinical courts. And women now perform that function too. A very, very orthodox, devoutly orthodox woman who's a court pleader in the Orthodox courts of New York, and explaining the ways in which she works and so on and so forth. She came out with the following sentence. And she says, now for the past 10 or 15 years, same-sex marriages have shown us a level of equality within a relationship we didn't believe existed, and goes on to talk about Jewish marriage. Now, this isn't an argument in favor of homosexuality. It's not an argument in favor of same-sex marriages. I believe she regards same-sex as an abomination, but there's something to learn from them. They challenge us in a way, okay? They place a mirror in front of our eyes, her eyes, that she couldn't have placed herself. That's what diversity is about, and that's the value of religion, different religions fervently believing that they are true. They can enrich each other by their commitment, by their different commitment to what they're committed to.